Good morning. It's Dr. Dina Churchill, Innovator in Health and Wellness, and I'm here at Point Pleasant Park in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. And on my way here to do my dog walk and do my morning meditation, I heard on the radio that there's been 57 deaths of coronavirus. And 51 of those deaths have been at a long-term care facility called Northwood Manor. For this reason, our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Robert Strang, has decided to keep us in lockdown for another 2 weeks here in Nova Scotia. So apparently we've won the award of being the last province to kind of open up our economy. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I sent an email to Dr. Robert Strang, the Chief Medical Officer, to the Health Minister, Honorable Randy Dolores, and to our Premier, Honorable Stephen McNeil, and I CC'd all the MLAs, members of Legislative Assembly in Nova Scotia. After I had read the research and heard the movie Plandemic from Dr. Judy Mirkovits, Mikovits, and also an interview with immunologist, world-famous immunologist, Dr. Dolores Cahill, and she's an Irish immunologist, microbiologist. And both these immunologists have suggested that the coronavirus is more fatal with those who've had the flu shot, because the flu shot itself contains that corona sequence. So my question to, again, the Health Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Robert Strang, and Randy Dolores, Honorable Randy Dolores, who's our Health Minister, and also our Premier, again, Stephen McNeil, was have these 51 of 57 deaths that are all at Northwood been investigated to see what other surrounding factors? For example, did they have the flu shot? Did all those people that died have the flu shot? And if they did, were they from the same batch? So this is information that I haven't had any reply from, but I send them a lot of emails. So you might want to connect with them and find out information yourself. I've also sent information to copied as CTV and CBC on that email. So again, no investigative reporters have contacted me, and I haven't heard a reply. So this is really concerning, but not surprising. I don't know, maybe I'm blocked. Good morning, Claudette, Danny, Jane, Terilyn. Maybe I'm blocked from their email. That wouldn't surprise me. So I need you to help me. We need to connect. We need to let them know that, maybe well, I can't say they don't have the information now because I've sent them the information, but maybe their hands are tied and they need us to come together as a people to let them know that we know the scam, that the flu shot itself has the corona sequence. So if you get tested and you've had the flu shot, you're going to show kind of like positive for that coronavirus. So it's such a scam. So yesterday I seen Prime Minister Justin Trudeau talk about, wanting everybody to wear masks. But I'm happy to report I'm here at the park this morning and I haven't seen one person with a mask so far. So yay, people are probably waking up to that whole scam. It's a fear tactic. And as I've said before, the virus or viral material is dead, but it can be injected by a flu shot or ingested, touching your face or your mouth or your nose. And what we know about the masks, the pores in the mask are measured in millimeters, so they're, bigger, and the little viruses are measured in nanometers. So the virus can kind of go right through the mask or in and around the mask. And your eyes are also a portal of entry for a virus. So, you can't escape. Dr. Zach Bush said there's 5,000 viruses that have been identified and probably 10,000 more that we don't know about. So they're everywhere, right? They're in our hair, they're in our mouth, they're in our nose. You can't escape the virus. So the whole idea of wearing the mask, I would like to think it's just ignorance, but it's also motivated or encouraged because it creates fear, right? It creates fear from this kind of whole plandemic, so you'll run out and get your vaccine. So I seen a study this morning that I was grateful for, actually. It was a picture I think I'll post later, but it was showing those that they've tested the corona vaccine on have gotten the corona, virus, which, really makes sense if you look back in history. Polio vaccine gave people polio. The swine flu vaccine gave people the swine flu. I mean, there were no cases, there were no incidences in the United States of swine flu until they start giving people the vaccine. Not only did it give people the swine flu, and there were like $3 billion worth of complaints, it also stimulated other vaccine reactions, which they called the Guillain-Barré syndrome. They created a syndrome to explain their vaccine injuries. That was from the swine flu, and that, President Ford had put that together. If you've seen a previous video, I talk about, there's a book, Murder by Injection, with Eustace Mullins, and he gives that history, that the swine breeders refuse, that's why it's called swine flu, right, for pigs. The swine breeders refused to give that vaccine to their livestock because it was killing their pigs. So the vaccine company thought, we have all this made up, we have to do something with it. So President Ford mandated it, for the population. And so it gave people the swine flu. And also, like I said, they had to create a syndrome called Guillain-Barré to account for the vaccine injuries. So I think this is what's happened now, right? We have autism or autism spectrum disorder. It's really vaccine injury or chemical injury, let's say, because we also get chemicals like glyphosate and chemicals from genetically modified foods too. So this is what the government does. They mandate something to come through, and then they have to create these illnesses, these, what would we say, syndromes, to explain why suddenly, all these people are paralyzed with Guillain-Barré, or, they've got polio virus. In the Philippines recently, when you had that polio outbreak, it was the vaccine strand of polio. So the vaccine, the little Frankenstein viral material that they concoct in the lab is causing the outbreaks. So once they start, and I think, again, Dr. Zach Bush, I really like his philosophy that this virus is really unmasking toxicity. So if you already have heavy metals in your body, if you have the previous flu shot, if you're exposed to 5G technology, that's stressor, it will be more severe for you because your body already is toxic. It has a high toxic load. And that's why I think, I often hear the argument, well, my kid had the vaccine and they didn't have autism. Well, it's a cumulative toxic load. So your parents, your grandparents, your mother, it depends on their toxic load, how much the baby's born into, if they're eating organic foods, if they're breastfed. It's a cumulative effect that we're seeing here. So those, my heart goes out to the families at Northwood Manor for 51 people that have died. So out of 57 in our whole province, 51 have been at Northwood Manor. So this needs to be investigated, right? And if Dr. Robert Strang, Chief Medical Officer, is not going to do that investigation, and our Health Minister, Honorable Randy Dolores, is not going to do that investigation, and our Premier, Stephen McNeil, who also had the email, is not going to do that investigation, and all the MLAs that I CC'd, and all the all the media that I CC'd on that email is not going to do the investigation. It's up to us. It's up to us to work as a team. And this is why we're doing this event on Saturday. So it's a rally to get together with people that share similar mind and heart. It's going to be at 12 o'clock noon at the City Hall, and we all need to speak out together. Again, not with anger as so much as certainty of this is not what we're going to consent to. We're not going to consent to being locked down with a foolish mask on, thinking we're going to protect. So this is the thing. They're mandating vaccines, like flu vaccines. They're trying to put it, a mandate through in New Brunswick right now, Bill 11, with the Education Minister, Dominic Carty, to mandate, shots for all these kids that have the corona sequence in it. But at the same time, they're encouraging you to wear a mask to keep you from getting the coronavirus. It doesn't make any sense. We know, it's totally bizarre. But our together, our love and our wisdom and our education is really what can push this paradigm. But we need you to speak up. I spoke to a dear friend last night, and she said, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to speak up. And there's some people that are still, living in fear. They have the knowledge, but they're still living in fear. So I would encourage you to look deeper into that paradigm and step outside of your own fears and step outside of your own doubts and look at our population at large. Think about these kids that are going to have to go back to school in their little cubicle and not talk to anyone else. Foolish. to avoid the coronavirus when they're giving them the coronavirus in the vaccines? Like, it makes no sense. So we need you to sort of speak up and speak out and talk about this. Now, I used to have the idea that the government was protecting us, right? In fact, I had a conversation with a personal injuries lawyer last night. I also seen a class action lawyer that I met with a few months ago to talk about class action suits for these parents who have vaccine injured children. And legally, our legal system is tied up because legally a lawyer, QC Queen's Counsel, is under an umbrella. They are a corporation within themselves, under the Queen, that was charged with treason. And I don't know if Tess is watching, but you could give me the year that the Queen was charged with treason. I think it was 2013. But the Queen is on the patent for the coronavirus. The Queen, Bill Gates, a few other people. I'll post that little picture later. But so the problem with our legal system is that it is not fair and just. It's put in place to protect these big companies. Now you might think, whoa, no, that's not true. My government protects me. No, let me give you an example. Okay, in 1986, the government guaranteed, it was, Gordon, I know you're going to say it's U.S. statistics, but if the companies are protected in the U.S. that make the vaccines, it also applies to other parts of the world. So in 1986, the government passed a law to absolve vaccine companies of any liability, injury, or death. The government did this to protect the company. In 1996, the government passed a law to protect the telecom companies. It was called the Telecom Act. So when they put these big 5G cell towers, I did a video, I don't know, it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, about the 5G cell towers that are going up. The military wave, military wave, and it's 30 to 300 gigahertz, not gigabytes, I said that wrong last time, but gigahertz that can split the double helix of your DNA and fry your brain cells. You know, it's like putting your kids in a microwave. You've got the smart meter on the outside of your house, and once the 5G technology comes in, it communicates, that smart meter then communicates with that 5G technology. So I had this conversation with someone last night. So right now the smart meter is working on Wi-Fi, but it's at a 2.4 gigahertz. When the 5G comes in, it'll be working at 300 or 95 gigahertz, anywhere from 30 to 300 gigahertz. And again, if you want to look at that, I just posted the two videos. I did a call to Rogers, who are wanting to roll this out by the end of 2020. So they've already started in Toronto, and I think Rick told me it started in BC as well, the 5G rollout. This is going to create tax to our system, right? This is going to be radiation poisoning that looks a lot like coronavirus because it affects the coupling of oxygen and hemoglobin in our lungs. But I also posted another video, and if you need information of anything I'm saying, just ask and I'll happy to send it to you. Information about homeopathic remedies that can help you detox from radiation poisoning. So you can ask me about that. The digital system, for a reason, it only applies. Okay, well, I'm not going to get into that, Corey. Thank you, though. I mean, Corey, I'm really grateful for you because it was Corey that gave me the recommendation of the book, Murder by Injection, and it's given me lots of great videos, so I'm really grateful for everything that you've suggested I read. And I know initially I was very resistant because I wanted to believe that the government really cared about me and cared about people, but I've seen it now, not only in the acts that they've passed, but in my plea. I emailed every MLA and every MP about the 5G technology, about this coronavirus. Everything I'm telling you now, I've sent to our government officials without reply. Instead, they're closing down the economy for another 2 weeks, even after they have the information that it could be the flu shot of why all these people died at Northwood. So again, it's really a paradigm that we need to speak out about. I'm just going to see if there's any more questions. Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Ronald Reagan passed that act. Thank you, Terilyn, in 1986. And then 1996, it was the Telecom Act that protects the cellular companies. And then the next one was in 2013, and that was President Obama with his wife, Michelle, or Michael, who passed that law, that protected Monsanto. Monsanto has his own act in government to protect him against any liability, death, or disease from the genetically modified foods they're feeding us, because it has chemicals in it. Scared to submit their demand to be freed of liability. I missed your comment, Terlin. Sorry, it scrolled up before I had a chance. And threatening to keep borders closed until the vaccine is available. Yes, thank you. I don't know what else you said here. Let me check. They're threatening to keep the borders closed until the vaccine is available, and those who do not obtain the vaccine will be required to shelter in place. Have you heard? Yes, thank you, Terlin. So that is tyranny, really. I mean, this is... The vaccine, we know, has side effects. We know the vaccine causes disease, and they are keeping us locked down in our house, closed borders until they're forcing the injection. We need to speak out. So for my friends who say they're not ready, I would say delete me right now, because I need people around me that are going to support this mission. We don't have time to be fearful. We have a mission. So at 12 o'clock at the City Hall, come with your signs. I had posted a t-shirt yesterday. It said, don't worry, COVID-19 won't last long. It was made in China. Make some funny signs, make some, freedom signs, come have fun, bring music. If you sing, we're just going to celebrate our freedoms and help people understand, educate, because our governments, our media are not doing it, and they have the information. So it's not ignorance anymore. It's a deliberate attempt to keep information, truthful information, from our population. Now, if you want any information like research on, why polio, again, created the polio virus, or why the swine flu created the swine, why the swine flu vaccine created the swine flu virus. If you want information on why the measles outbreak was coming from the vaccine, that when they tested, these people, when they did titers of where the virus came from, or the sequence was from the lab. So they're scaring you with this coronavirus when they've probably we know that, but the corona sequence, was owned by Bill Gates, and that, him and some other wealthy individuals, the Queen on the list, decided, that they were going to own this dangerous virus pandemic, and now the same people are also producing the antivirus. It's the way it goes in computer world. Same people giving you the virus are the same people giving you the antivirus. But I don't know if there's anything else I need to say. But if you, the WHO, the World the World Health Organization is apparently where they get a lot of their information. Where the government, I've had many MLAs say we're following the World Health Organization mandate. Well, the World Health Organization in 1983 mandate was to kill the population, was to depopulate using vaccines. So the World Health Organization is a corrupt organization. God bless Donald Trump, and also some of the presidents in Africa that are now defunding. They're removing funding from the World Health Organization. Otherwise, you're funding the corrupt organization, right, who are wanting to depopulate. So, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, if you were wise, you would, and show your real strength and manlyhood, and I won't say what I was thinking, but if you have substance and courage, you will also defund the World Health Organization. Now, if you want, they're capitalizing off our ignorance, and they're creating fear, Tyrlin. So fear is what has locked us in our homes. Because if you're not fearful, you're going to go out. You're going to go out in public. You're going to kiss your family. That's it. So they're creating fear is based on fear and ignorance. So again, we have a choice. We can work we can be led by fear and ignorance, or we can lead with love and wisdom. It's your choice. If you want any of the information, like I said, just email me, text me, ask me a question here. If I don't get back to you right away, send it to me again, because sometimes things get lost, and I'm a little hairy when it comes to technology. So, but if you want to post, if you want to repost something, for example, and you get all the naysayers, your family especially, knocking you for sharing kind of health truth information, just invite me, to the conversation. I'll be very gentle and very accommodating, but at the same time, I'll be sharing education from a non-emotional point, because when people are close to you, it's hard to kind of distance yourself. So I've done that for other friends, and I'd be happy to do it for you and share information. Also, I have dozens of letters that I've written to MPs on the 5G technology, or MLAs on the vaccines, or to Justin Trudeau about the coronavirus and the scam of the World Health Organization. If you want any of those, if you are inspired now in hearing this to speak out and send information to your government official, you don't even have to do it. You know, just send me a note and I'll just send you what I have. You can change your name, change the date, and you can send it out. The other thing I'm doing right now is I've registered under common law. And we're in kind of a paradigm, a hierarchy, where the businesses and corporations, big businesses, are being protected by this legal umbrella. They are part of a circle of corruption that actually can, let's say, heavily influence and sway the government. But the common law is a system that rests outside of that. So I've been working on that, and again, I don't have any legal background, so it's all new to me. If you have any information, I thank Tess for sending me that information from the UK. But if you have any information on that, feel free to send me. But it's important, first, to establish you do not consent to this. As a person living on the land, you do not consent. So your letter to your MP, to your government official, should say, and if you can send it in a document, in a paper form, and sign it with a blue or purple pen, it makes it a legal and binding document. And this is what I'm going to work on this week, because all the emails I've sent out, they could say they've lost them. I mean, I've gotten kind of automatic replies from some, but they may just say I didn't receive the letter. So now I have to make sure I establish that in some way, in a registered mail, or having a signature on the letter. And again, just having a letter of your concerns, and then I do not consent to being poisoned. It's important to state that, because I don't think they believe it. I do not consent to being poisoned with injected chemicals or radiation of 5G technology. I will litigate. This is important, right? I will litigate. This is what I said to Rogers. This is what I said to my school, to my son's school. I will litigate if this technology is installed, because of a free person on a free land. We don't have to accept this. We're scared. They've created fear, and you're accepting it. That's why you're home, sitting down. That's why we only had 11 people at City Hall last week to stand up for our freedoms. I know you're scared, but we're all in this together. And believe me, if you don't stand up, the end game is a lot scarier. So now is the time, right? Now is the time. We have 2 weeks. We're still in lockdown because of this foolish coronavirus. Have I missed anything? Thanks for watching. Ren, Ron, Tony. Already sent, registered, sitting on our PM's desk. Oh, you sent your letter. Excellent. Thanks, Tony. Tony, where are you right now? You were in Australia. Stuart, Swang, thank you for watching. So I don't know if there's anything I've missed or something I should mention. If you can think of that, or if you have a question, you can pop it up there now. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off soon. Maybe I'll just see if I can give you a view of what I'm looking at here this morning. So this beautiful rock formation. I can't really tell you where I am because I'm not supposed to be here, but it's somewhere in Point Pleasant Park. And here's what I'm looking at. Look at the beautiful ocean. Isn't this great? Imagine keeping us in lockdown, you know, away from our nature that heals us, and forcing us to have these artificial vaccines. I mean, who ever heard that health came in a needle anyway? I mean, health comes in our food, what we eat, in our thoughts, thinking good things, in what we breathe, what we eat. You know, health is our environment. And, you know, people like Bruce Lipton, cell biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton, he says, I have to go back to this. I have to read this comment first. I just popped in about the live. Would like to know more about the form to refuse vaccines. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Francine. So Bruce Lipton, you know, he says all these things, you know, our thoughts, our food, are really epigenetic factors, above genetic genes. So these factors in our environment affects our genes. If you're out here and you're breathing the salt air and you're in nature, it will help your health. It really stimulates your body. It stimulates your immune system. We're part of the earth. You know, our blood plasma has the same constituents as the ocean. So it's, you know, you can't separate us. So the form, Mother Nature, yeah, let me just keep you on this while I'm talking, if anyone has any questions. I'm working on a form right now, Francine. I'm putting together something. If you look up common law, there's a website called Common Law. And there's also another website called IN Power Movement. And they have samples of consent forms there, or non-consent forms, let's say, that you can use to send your government. And again, I just mentioned about sending a paper copy, because I've been doing it in emails. But if we do take this to court, if we litigate, you know, all these politicians, all these governments, all these chemical companies that are trying to kind of poison us with these chemicals, we need to have documentation that we've sent our non-consent and that they've done it anyway. So I'm thinking an email can, you know, get lost, or they can deny that they received it. But if they had the sign for a document, it's a little different. Exempt forms are available via Vaccine Choice Canada. Thank you, Tara Lynn. That's great. Yeah, Vaccine Choice Canada are actually litigating this. You know, they're challenging this bill that 11 that Minister Dominic Carty's put forward in New Brunswick to, you know, mandate vaccines or remove non-medical interventions, because it interferes with our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Tara Lynn, if you have anything to add to that, you can feel free. Or another something Tara Lynn just posted here, Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms is something else. So there's lots of websites. Vaccine Choice Canada is our national body. So I should talk about that. You know, Ted is now the president, and he's the father of a vaccine-injured child who has passed away. So these people that are working there, they don't get paid. It's nonprofit. They're doing it because they're wanting to help you and your kids. So, you know, go there and support them. You know, you don't have to donate. You know, you can just sign up for the newsletter and be part of our group to know what's happening in your country. But if you feel so inspired, they could really use your help right now, because they are trying to litigate, you know, on your behalf with an amazing lawyer. Rocco is great success with other constitutional issues, but, you know, it all costs money. And so you can donate at the site Vaccine Choice Canada. Love sharing your message. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you for sharing. And please continue to educate us so we can delete those other things going through our brains. I can't see the rest of your comment. Oh, from the media. Yeah, thanks. So, and I just want to say, I'm going to turn this around for a moment. There's my sweet little dog, Major. He's really, you know, pets are great friends, aren't they? I mean, they're examples of unconditional love. So when you know, you're having a rough day, you know, come out into the sun, sit for a while with, you know, your favorite animal or your favorite person, breathe in the air. Let me turn this around and see if I can say goodbye to you. Okay, good. So, what was I going to say? Somebody asked me a question. Love sharing your message. Continue to the media. Okay, yeah. So, I don't know if I can get this standing up here again. The media is, like I said, I used to think the media was just ignorant. They just didn't know the information. So I've made it a point to every MLA letter that I've sent, I've also sent to CTV or CBC, or reporters like Michael Gorman, who really wrote a lot of articles on me, which I'm grateful for, when I surrendered my chiropractic license and I got my big fine for speaking out about vaccines. Michael Gorman, I think, wrote 3 different articles about me then. So I've invited him to come back and write another article. You know, I have a lot more to say now. And I've also invited, you know, him and Bruce Frisco to come down to our event on Saturday. Last Saturday, again, it's 12 o'clock noon at City Hall. Come, bring your signs, your friends, your music, your T-shirts, and, you know, have fun with us and share information. But so I used to think that the media just didn't know the information. Now I see that I provided them with the information. Now it's just a choice, and many of the media are, let's say, bought out and heavily funded by the pharmaceutical companies. So they have a certain agenda of what they need to report to you. So those people who are sitting, watching the 5 o'clock news, running out and buying toilet paper and putting on their masks, are listening really just to the pharmaceutical agenda. They're not telling you that the flu shot is injecting you with the coronavirus, and it's more virulent this way than actually if you happen to ingest it, and goes through your digestive system then, right? And anyone that has a strong acidic acid in their stomach, it usually takes care of anything that you ingest. But it's the injected stuff that goes right into your bloodstream, like the viral material from bats and pigs and cows and rats, and the heavy metals that go right to your brain. So the injections are pretty scary. So don't get the vaccine. And again, like I said, In Power movement is a movement that you can look, you can find some consent forms. Vaccine Choice Canada is a website. Also, what else did I suggest on that? Anyone else? Tara Lynn had another suggestion. Justice, constitutional something or another. And also there's a common law website. So I'll post some of these websites attached to the video when I get home in a few hours, or if you want to add information here, please do. Because we're a team. Thanks, John, Adam, Shelley. We're all sharing information and we're creating our own movement. And this is really important. Once the government becomes lawless and is locking us into our homes until we are injected with a chemical that we know is dangerous, then we must resist. We have to. It's our sacred duty, as Gandhi says. It's our sacred duty to speak out. When we're faced with lawlessness, and this is what we must do. Shelley, Adam, big love. Thank you, Adam. To you too. Sherry. So if there's no more questions, I'll sign out. And again, if you need any consent forms, if you need any information, if you're going to post this information and you want to know about how the flu vaccine actually contains, the coronavirus, I did ask you to look at Judy Mirkovits, Mikovits, Plandemic. You'll find that on a site called Brighton, Brighteon, or you can look up Dr. Dolores, Delores, Cahill, Cahill, and she's an immunologist in Ireland. So if you please don't believe me, because I'm just a messenger of the information that I've gathered, so you can share the information of the experts that have worked in the microbiology lab, that have worked with the CDC, that have a greater understanding than the general public. But this is the information that we need to get out there. Your MLA, if you're in Nova Scotia, already has that movie Plandemic, because I sent it to them. But if you're in other parts of the province, your MLA won't. And I think we all need to go through this process. I think you need to go through the same process as me. You need to try to connect with your media and try to connect with your MLA just to see that they're not there for you. So if the government is protecting via the Vaccine Act 1986, via the Telecom Act in 1996, because of the Monsanto Act protecting Monsanto against any liability, death, or disease for his genetically modified foods. The governments are putting these bills in place to protect these big companies. I would ask, who's protecting you? Who's protecting you and your family? We are, right? We're protecting ourselves. So common law is important. I'm learning more about that. And then the consent forms, a paper consent form delivered. I do not consent to be injected with poisons, to being poisoned with, having poisons injected to my foods, or being poisoned with air, with radiation in the environment. Australia's Sandoff website contains flu vaccine ingredients. Thank you, Adam. Sandoff has just, this is a vaccine company that has a proposal to put forward, now I'm going to get the number wrong. No, I'll get it right. It's a $500 million facility in Toronto, Canada. So you can see there's a, let's say, influence, a strong influence to push through these vaccines. If you have a $500 million facility being constructed right here in the center of Canada. So this is important to know. Hi, Aaron, Donald, thanks for watching. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to sign out. And thank you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being part of the team. Remember, lead with love and wisdom. Don't get hung up on that, the fear and ignorance. Educate yourself. Educate your others, you know, with courage and purpose. It's not too late at this point. But once you have an injection, and some of the newest research that I've been studying, you know, the microchip apparently had to be inserted onto your skin, but the injection that Bill Gates is concocting has things that kind of genetically modify you. So not only do we have genetically modified foods, genetically modified animals, I mean, they're trying to genetically modify people. So again, the whole idea of the testing, right, and this tracking, going around and tracking people and trying to find out who has the virus is a scam, because they're trying to get information is what they're doing. But if right, Dr. Cahill and Dr. Merkovitz are right, and the flu vaccine actually has that corona sequence, then the testing is all a scam. It's false, right? Anyone's had the flu shot is going to have the coronavirus in them, right? So it's nuts. So join the meditation today. Thank you, Francine. You can feel free to post information. I'm having my own little meditation. Once I finish all this emotion here, I'm going to go back to sitting in my little spot, hidden in the rock, and breathe in the salt air and try to imagine what it is I want. I want to imagine our population becoming empowered and sharing information. I want to imagine that we, as people living on the earth, you know, are powerful beyond our measure, and that our thoughts and our attention creates our reality. So with your mind, you're going to create what you want, and writing out these non-consent forms helps put you in a mindset of gaining back your power. So again, thank you. It's called the May Day event, okay? May Day, like it's May, or May Day, SOS. I'd like that, Francine. So again, I wish you a wonderful day, inviting you to reach for the stars, envision and achieve your personal best. And most of all, try to enjoy the journey. This is Dr. Dina Churchill, signing out.